Hello, and welcome back to New You Wow Going Places podcast, where we're here to help celebrate all the achievements and connections in our community and to help women around the world achieve epic breakthroughs. We are most honored today to be joined by Natasha Hampton, the best-selling author of High Heel Leadership, The Art of Being a Woman of and in Power. Natasha is the recipient of many distinguished awards. Plus, she's had the distinctive honor of addressing international audiences in China, Dubai, South Africa, and Canada. How are you today, Natasha?
I am well. Thank you so much for having me, but I am doing wonderfully well. Thank you.
Oh, fantastic. And just as a little bit of a heads up to our audience, Natasha, with her very, very busy schedule, is on the road today, but again has honored us and graced us with her presence. By means of getting started, we're just going to do a little bit of an icebreaker, and we'd love to know if you could share something interesting about yourself that most people do not know. A little nugget, a hidden gem.
Something most people don't know. Well, actually, I won Best Supporting Actress for playing Mama in Raisin in the Sun
Wow.
when I was in middle school. Yeah, so I actually got my public speaking roots and from the arts. And my seventh grade art teacher just really, she actually walked into my English classroom and she said, she asked every student in the classroom, could you stand up and say, my car is in the garage? And each student stood up and said, my car is in the garage. And I stood up and said, my car is in the garage. And she looked at me and said, what's your elective? And I said, it's typing. And she grabbed my hand and took me out of my English class and walked me to the office and made me drop that elective and picked up theater.
Amazing.
And from there, I actually took theater even through my college career. And yeah, it really helped me with my public speaking. But that is maybe a lot of unknown fact is I did win Best Supporting Actress for playing Mama in A Raisin in the Sun.
No, that's excellent. And I'm so glad that you shared. Sometimes it's someone else seeing our potential that really pushes us beyond our own barriers. So just imagine how differently things could have gone if that teacher hadn't taken you by the hand and insisted that you go into acting instead. That's wonderful. Wow.
Absolutely.
So we're also, what was that?
No, I actually talk about her name is Miss Pender, actually. I actually talk about her in my book because I agree. I think it's so incredibly important to recognize, particularly as leaders or just people, period. When you see something in someone, help them to cultivate that because you never know what that leads to. And her seeing that in me, because I certainly didn't see it in myself, and particularly at that age, she really changed my life. She changed the trajectory of my life.
Wow.
Enhanced my confidence, my self-confidence, and allowed me, what she showed me was the power that I had to captivate audiences with my words, just with words. She showed me that, and that has changed my life in an amazing way.
Fabulous. And there's always that mentor, that teacher, someone that we know that really helped lift us, and the fact that you never forget their name. Those are the ones that stand out worlds apart. So have you ever been able to get back in touch with her, like post school? Have you kept touch?
Yeah, I have, not as of late, but I have seen her, ran back into her, and amazingly, she remembers me.
Aww.
And right, and I certainly recognize and remember her. She will forever have a place in my DNA. She really one of those women that helped to mold me into who I am today.
Fantastic. And, we're curious too, given that was such a profound element of laying the foundation of where your life would lead. Do you have any other fond childhood memories that you think were pivotal to establishing the trajectory of where you are right now? Is there something else that really stands out from your childhood?
Yeah, I grew up with a really big family. I have three brothers, three sisters. I'm in the middle. Um, Both my parents, my mother's devout Jehovah's Witness, and she really laid a spiritual foundation for my family.
Nice.
My dad, who was the breadwinner, went to work, took care of his family, uh, and my mother, who took care of the home. And that example of the family and this partnership, that where I saw what leadership is and how what my dad wasn't strong in, he recognized that strength in my mother, and that's what she led in. And then what my mother wasn't strong in, my father led in. And then that was the partnership that created, that really laid a foundation for me, even as a leader today. That's how I build teams. I build
Excellent.
teams based on, who, and I cultivate those strengths in my teams. And so being able to see that, and as I was growing up, and being around, coming up with such a large family also gave me a backbone and strength, because you had to have it, with siblings that were constantly picking on you,
Oh, yeah.
and making fun of you. You had to have some tough skin. So that was great, because out here, and this could be a cruel world. And so that upbringing with my siblings, because if you can survive the jokes that your siblings uh, put on you, you could survive anything. So I'm thankful for that as well. Those are the childhood memories that I was always fond of, and that really again helped groom me. And also just a family that was always fond of the arts, always into the arts, always. I had a mother and a dad who, imitated Otis Redding. He was actually known as Miami's own Otis
Look
Redding.
at that.
And and so I got that honest, and so it was just wonderful to grow up in a household that fostered creativity,
Mhm.
that cultivated expression, that allowed voice, and that also gave balance, and I saw this grace in my mother, that even through leadership you can be graceful as a woman, that leadership didn't have to come with a pinstripe suit with pants. You can be a graceful leader,
Beautiful.
and I saw that in my mother as well. So
Oh, that's fantastic. And it's one of those things, a bit cliche, but when they say teamwork makes the dream work, the fact that you could see that demonstrated in your parents, and that their strengths would play off each other. And again, you never know who's watching. So all these years later, the fact that you use that as a model for the way that you build your teams, it just says every single day we've got to take advantage of the opportunities in front of us to set a profound example for the ones that follow. So that's great. Do you have any favorite performances from your dad that you remember? Any songs in particular?
oh my gosh, every single one of them. Oh my goodness, every single one of them. I don't think there's any. Well, see, whenever he did, oh my goodness, I don't know if I have a favorite.
Yeah.
But certainly the whichever song we would drop to his knees, and because all of the ladies would start screaming, and it was funny because we had this routine where we were kind of like a part of the performance.
Oh,
So when
wow.
my dad would drop to his knees, my sister and I were responsible for getting a Kleenex and wiping the sweat off of his forehead, and my brother was like security to make sure no one came to the stage and crowded my dad. you know,
Wow. You weren't
and
kidding.
so I'm sorry.
I said you weren't kidding. That was phenomenal.
No, no, we were actually a part of the performance, and so we loved it, and we couldn't wait to go with him whenever he performed. And in fact, you know, like we would start the money rolling. I would throw the first dollar bill, and then it would just start flowing after that. Like, yes, it's working. So we had the whole family involved. It was a whole family affair, so it was great.
That's beautiful. Very, very nice. So, given
Yeah,
that you had that prior example and you yourself now, you're a proud mother of 3 children, right?
I am. I am. Yes.
So the
Yes.
question rises with such a busy schedule and, the forces at play nowadays with the pandemic. Do you have any tips on how to strike a work-life balance?
Mhm. That's a great question, and I get that question all the time. And I'll say that I do not believe that there is such a thing as a balance, striking a balance, because something has to give,
Mm,
right? We aren't machines, and we aren't perfect. Um, One of the things that I do very, very often, and certainly more than once a day, is
mhm.
I pray. I pray a lot, and I meditate. And the that's the balance for me. The balance for me is my spiritual balance.
Excellent.
So I don't try to balance the work and the life, because something has to give. I speak about that a little bit in one of the chapters in the book,
Mhm.
High Heel Leadership: The Art of Being a Woman in Power. I speak about ambition without connection, because when I was raising my kids, I raised my kids as a single mom, and
Got it.
so raising my kids, I was in school full time, I went to work full time, and I taught my children independence. I showed my kids what it was like to have drive,
Mm.
and really go after what you want. And my children are doing exactly what I showed and taught them. But today, I long for my children to call me and just say, "Hey, mom, what are you doing?" Or to just
Aw.
lay on my lap and just talk to me. But when you don't connect in that way, and that's what I mean, that something has to give. So I'm working. I'm doing the things that we do, and that's not a bad thing. It's just that, there's something that's going to suffer, because you can't you I don't believe that you can strike a balance. The balance I try to strike is my spiritual balance,
Beautiful.
because it keeps me able, it allows me to do the time have the time that I can have for both my career and my family, without feeling that I am not doing my best in both areas. My spiritual alignment and my spiritual balance allows me to do that. Does that make sense?
Excellent. Absolutely. And, I'm
Yeah.
just going to reemphasize many times when I ask that question, I do get a similar response that the balance doesn't exist. But I love how you point out this is not something to beat ourselves up over. Because when you
Mm-mm.
add to the angst and you think that you're failing because you didn't reach an impossible standard, well, now you've taken away from the very energy that you need to get things done. So I love how you
Yeah,
point out that it's more an approach, and those feelings are so vital. So maintaining that positivity and to know that prayer is an element that can help you regain that peace. And now you free up the energy to go and be there for your children. That's profound.
definitely.
Yeah. And,
Absolutely.
I like how you mentioned too that you'd love for them just to call up, check on you. There's that piece of time. It never flows backwards. It's always going forward. So, as you look back on memories and you hold on to precious thoughts, you realize too, don't waste a moment now. So for the younger ones out there that are listening, call your mom, call the ones that matter most to you, and let them know how you feel about them, because you don't want to regret the moments that they just go so quickly. So I love that.
Absolutely.
Very, very
Yeah.
solid
Yeah.
points. Now, I am curious, what specifically led to your decision to pursue a career in municipal government? Was there a certain line of events, or was it something that, you had someone that inspired you?
Well, actually, when I started my career in government, municipal government, I needed a job. It was 1997.
All right.
I was just moved to Broward County. At the time, it was just my oldest son and and I needed to work. And actually, following my oldest son and my daughter, and so I was actually sitting in a Red Lobster.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I was sitting at home and I saw on the government access channel where there was an administrative clerk 1 position open for a municipality in Broward County. And I was like, okay, well, let me apply. And I did. And I actually got a beep. Remember beepers? Okay,
Yeah.
I'm dating myself.
No,
I'm
no.
dating myself. But I got a beep.
Okay.
And I went to the payphone that was in the restaurant where I was, and I called, and they were asking me to come in for an interview. And that was the start of my career in public service. And I didn't know that's what I wanted to do, but I just remember feeling really satisfied, and it was gratifying to see lives that were changed with just the people around me. I had some very dynamic people around me that I saw that was doing some really amazing things.
Nice.
In municipal government. And come to find out, my dad, was a career public servant, for 30 years for Miami-Dade County, and my grandmother. And, now my sister, so I come from a line of people, family that's public servant. So it was kind of, I think, meant for me to do that.
Yeah.
But at the time, I just needed employment.
Wow.
And then it just kind of evolved from there. I knew it was comfortable for me. I knew it's where I wanted to be. And I then started to do the things necessary to advance in this career, like going back to school and really immersing myself in this career.
Oh, that's fantastic. And, it was such a strong heritage. You had those roots. As you went into it, were you aware that you had others in different generations that were also public servants, or did it take on more meaning as you began doing it?
No, I didn't really realize it or recognize it initially.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I didn't. I didn't even pick that up initially. And it just happened like that. And only after I think maybe year 6 or 7 in public service did I say, oh, wow, wait a minute. My grandmother, my dad, my sister, my brother who was in the military. I'm like, okay, wait a minute. Yeah, then no wonder. So, yeah, that's how it fell into place. But serving others, I really consider myself a servant leader, and serving others just really is a passion for me. It brings my heart joy.
Beautiful. And, I love how you pointed out it started with just needing a job, but it led to something so much more because you came across your passion. And when you can connect the dots and do something that you love and make a living from it, that is rare indeed. So very nice. So curious, since you've had over now 20 years of experience in public administration, you're certainly a leading voice for women's empowerment. So can you tell us more about your professional journey, specifically like any roadblocks that you encountered that were unexpected, but you clearly overcame?
Oh, wow. Yes, there were a number of roadblocks, and there were certainly some that were life changing, at least in terms of my growth. Um, I mean, I have dealt with everything in my career from sexual harassment
Mm-hmm.
to um, being passed over for um, promotions, um, to I mean to everything, every spectrum of what you could possibly deal with. I've dealt with that.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that I've always maintained, however, is an amazing tribe of mentors,
Nice.
women and men, that I've been able to call upon and just seek advice from. Um, and I've been very mindful about not uh, create or not calling on mentors that would tell me what I wanted to hear.
Brilliant.
I've, I've always had mentors that have elevated in their career, that I knew had experiences that could really pour into me,
Mm-hmm.
uh, how I could navigate and get through some of those challenges that I was experiencing. And I that was really how I was able to get through and still get through this challenge. Continue to have as a leader in my profession is I really have a tribe, and I call upon my tribe.
Beautiful. Yeah. And it's excellent that we appreciate the honesty and that openness, because many times when people achieve high levels and success, it's easy to put forth an image of, I got it on my own, which couldn't be further from the truth. The
Right.
only way you
No.
rise is with a lift, and then you have that obligation to pay it forward and help others become lifted as well. So it's good that you've distinguished the ability to know when you're in that rough spot, that you do need someone that's going to nudge you forward instead of kind of enabling you to just stay put, like the turtle that goes back in the shell. So that's profound that you said, you've got
Yeah.
that tribe, you know who to call on. And I do want to give definite homage to not only the women that help lift us, but the men. All of us come from a woman. We all have mothers, but the strong men that realize strong women in their worlds are pivotal. You know, kudos to them, because we wouldn't be where we were without all that support. So very nice.
Absolutely.
And you
Absolutely.
reminded me too, as you start going through processes, and especially when you climb the ladder and you find yourself at a higher level, that just means that it comes with bigger problems. so you definitely are going to need someone that's going to rally behind you and support, either pull you up or get under there with you. So that's beautiful. And
Yes, absolutely.
was there something, that a particular accomplishment that you say you are most proud of, given that you did overcome these roadblocks?
Yeah, but that I'm still able to, that my heart is still open,
Nice.
that I'm still willing to be a mentor to others, that I'm still willing to help, that I'm still willing to serve, that I still want to serve, that I'm not closing myself up because of pain, because of hurt, because of betrayal, because of heartache, but that I still remain a servant leader, and that I continue to pray to be more Christ-like every day. And for that, I am most thankful, and I am most proud of that, because you could win 1,000 awards, you can have your names on buildings, you can have all of that, and for me, it's never really been about that. I've been able to accomplish a lot in my career, so much. But I am most thankful that I've never closed myself up, because what I put out wasn't always reciprocated. The care and the expectations that I may have had may not have always returned. may have returned void.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm thankful that I didn't close myself up, and that I'm still able to even speak about it, and hoping that it helps someone to say, it's okay, because for the as many that will hurt you, you'll have double that will help you.
Amen.
And I've experienced that. I've experienced where I've had, my entire platform is women and helping women and developing women. I have had some women really, truly hurt me.
Mm.
But for that, I have had women help me. Like I just could not have, I can't see myself here in this place without some of the amazing women in my life. And
Nice.
so I can see the flip side of the negative. And I would hope that someone listening to your show, to this, can know that on the other side of pain there is healing, and on the other side of pain there is someone who's willing to show you different.
Beautiful. Thanks so much for watching. Be sure to share this video and like, comment, and subscribe. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at New You Well. Until next time, stand tall in your power and remember, your belief in yourself is your superpower.